All right. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Yes. How are you doing?
I am
How's
fabulous.
everything?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Living my better than best life.
Yes, I'm kind of jealous because you're in Florida. I liked living in Florida because of the weather. I am a fake Jamaican African island girl, and the weather is it's me. Like I just like the weather. I don't want to deal with the snow and the hail,
Right.
and it's just a lot.
Girl, I can't stand the snow. Now, I will tell you, in full disclosure, I'm not in Florida this time. I'm in Indiana, where I'm originally from, where my mom
From
and dad live.
okay.
Yes. So trust me, it is dark, it is cloudy. I mean, it looks like there might be a little sun, but there's no sun. I'm just in a room that is facing a street where it's just a lot of illumination. So you're getting light shade, but trust me,
Ah.
it ain't nice. It's cold.
I've been to Indianapolis, but it was during like the summer months.
Okay, were you here on a day where it just happened to be a little sunny?
Yeah. But it,
Okay,
it, it
well,
was like gloomy. Now that I'm like,
that's it. It's gloomy. You know, I didn't even realize how dark and gloomy Indy was until I left.
mhm,
And in Florida, as you can imagine, and it's sunny every day.
sunny.
It's sunny every day. Now we get rain from time to time, but let me tell you, there is something about the sun
Mhm.
and the natural vitamin D, the blue skies, and every day, even though you may be a little tired, or you didn't get enough sleep last night, or you're rushing, and it doesn't matter. Like there's something about the energy that the sun gives me when I'm in Florida. It just makes me feel good. I feel hopeful. I feel as if
Yes.
I can do and accomplish anything. And everybody, for the most part, is in a good mood. I'm like, how are you gonna
And
be
that
nasty
is,
if you got great weather?
you have summed
Near the
up,
beach,
oh God.
which I love. Like,
So many times I've
I'm,
skipped class at University of Miami just to go to the beach. But yeah, you've like summed up what I just was lost for words. But I'm just like, I don't know. It's cool living up, New Jersey, New York area because there's stuff, entertainment going on. But like, I feel like the weather like really affects a person's
yeah.
mood, their energy, their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think you just like summed it up. I'm just because you're from Indianapolis, so it definitely was like gloomy, but I did see the sun. But yeah, no, I like seeing the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Mm-hmm.
seeing the sun. I like sitting in it. Like I don't know, I just man, if you would have seen pictures of me in Miami, I was a nice little chocolate little milk dud.
I
Okay,
love it. I love it.
and they be like,
There,
"You're not
I mean,
tired." I'm like,
okay. And
"Nah."
there's something when people talk about like seasonal affective disorder, like they're like, oh, that's not real. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's
Yes, it
real.
is.
You're not getting enough sunlight, which is God's natural vitamin D. You don't have to take a pill, but you get it
Nope.
every day. It makes you feel better. It makes you look better, get that nice little glisten, little glow, like you were talking about.
Man.
There's something about it. And then, like you said, you were at the beach when you're in Miami. You go to the beach almost every other day, if not every day, whether it's sunrise or sunset or the middle of the day.
Oh, that's
Just
another
even if I'm just
thing.
driving by it, I can like it just literally makes me feel better. And I'm literally living my best life in Florida. I mean, I go back and forth, and I love the East Coast. Don't get me wrong. I went to school at Howard, and I'm all about the East Coast. But there's something about being in an environment where you are fed every day with vitamin D naturally. It's just there's nothing like it. It's the best. It's the best. Which is why when we go on vacations, most of the time we want to go to a place that's sunny and beautiful, and Caribbean island. I mean, because
Right.
it's beautiful. I mean, it just makes you feel better. So why not live there all the time if you can?
So yeah, I'm like envious that you're there. I still have a Florida license. Shh.
Oh,
I still have a Florida license. I still have a car tag that says Florida. Yeah, I'm just envious. I miss just waking up on my balcony, waking up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, sipping tea, kicking my feet up, and just watching the sunset. Yeah, like I just that's a life for me. Just feeling the
the
warm
lifestyle.
breeze on my bald head instead of now I gotta bundle up, I gotta put a scarf on. It's just a
Mhm.
lot. But the
Yeah, yeah.
hurricanes were very like strenuous. I was definitely in living in Miami when it was 2018, when it was like um category 4, I think it was.
Hmm.
Oh
Hmm.
man, I was like, man, should I stay or should I evacuate?
Right.
My crazy butt stayed.
Oh no, Lord Jesus.
That's why I said
No.
don't. The previous episode, that's why I said don't. You got to give me some type of target because my little crazy.
Like if I could do it over again, maybe not next time.
But
Maybe next time.
yeah, I just miss Florida. The ambiance of just the warm weather. It's I don't know. It just fits me. I feel
Yeah.
very at home. But I do love the DC, Maryland, as far as the
Mm.
people and the hospitality. And I'm gonna also have to say the activities as well. But the weather,
Yeah.
if I could take the weather and the people from DC to Maryland, like if they forge that together, I will be so at home and I will move
Okay.
instantly.
Yeah. I love the DMV. I mean, that's when I became a woman. When I grew up was in DC. I was 17 years old when I moved to DC and I went to Howard undergrad. And that's when I mean, like I still feel like I'm still living my 17, 18-year-old life. But that's when I look back, those were the best 6 years of my life, living and working in DC. I love that area.
I'm like at a phase where I'm just like, man, do I go back to the DC area when I want to like raise my family, or because it's a comfort area, like I feel comfortable as like a single woman being there, but I'm not really sure if that's, or do I want to go back to Florida? I kind of just grapple with that idea, but I don't want to be so sold on it because I don't have a solid partner where I know like this is going to be my husband and stuff needs to be
Yeah.
talked about. But I'm just like, yeah, those are like my two spots where I just feel my happiest. There's just so many things that I really like about the DC, Maryland area. It's diverse just as much as the New York, New Jersey area. The amount of wealthy people that look like me in other cultures in the Maryland area. It's just so many things that I could just like the museums. There's just so many things that I'm interested in versus like other areas. So
Such an inspiring environment. I mean, even beyond the politics and
hmm
of course the museums, and there's just so much activity there. There's so many things that you can get into, and your children or your family can be involved in. Like it's a city that you can never get bored. Like if you live in DC or even like New York, New Jersey, that whole kind of East Coast flavor, and you're like, there's nothing to do. And that's not
girl, you
about that
crazy.
place, is about you, because there's
Right.
always something to do. There's always
Yes.
something going on. And I mean, for me, my fascination and my love for DC is based on the mid 80s to early 90s.
hmm
So I was there during a time that was very different from how DC looks now.
hmm
DC, when I was there, was called Chocolate City. DC was also known as the murder capital of the nation,
Oh, I
unfortunately.
seen that side.
Sorry about that. It's true. The Georgia Avenue that I grew up on and walked up and down the streets back in 87 is different from the Florida Avenue or the Georgia Avenue that exists right now. I mean, it's different. I mean, there's been a lot of gentrification.
hmm
There has been a lot of growth in DC, which I'd love to see. And yet, the level of diversity when it comes to African Americans who, predominantly made up DC, it's no longer like that. It's not a bad thing, a good thing. It just is what it is. But my fascination with DC is still based on what I knew it to be back in the day. And so when I go to visit from time to time, it is different, but it still gives me that energy and the love and the access to the amenities that I love of cities, especially like DC. So yeah, DC is, I mean, of course, when you got the cherry blossoms and the spring, like, it's just
Yes.
beautiful. Rock Creek Park, beautiful. Like it's just a beautiful city. So yeah, my
Mumbo
fascination
sauce.
with that, Yeah, right. Mumbo, so I mean, all
You
that.
don't forget that.
Florida Avenue Grill, going to, oh my God, back in the day it was Booz Alley in Georgetown. I mean, I don't even think that's there anymore. But yeah, for me, there was just so much love and, black love and chocolate love and all of that back when I was there. And so when I go there, I still see it through that prism. And
Mm-hmm.
I always will, because that's when I began to become a young adult. And I was going into my adulthood and really learning what being Black in America looked like and felt
Right.
like, because I was coming from Indiana, which, doesn't have a lot of diversity necessarily. And I went to, a predominantly non-minority school.
Mm-hmm.
So my connection to the African American, to the Black world was very limited. And when I got to DC, it was like my eyes just were like, oh, like I felt
Right.
like I just made it, like it was heaven. I was in heaven. And so, DC is responsible for raising me. DC is responsible for giving me a sense of confidence I never that I never had as a young person. When I
Mm-hmm.
got to DC, it just really gave me those experiences and those moments in life that I have always cherished. And I look to as the moment when I'm like, okay, the light bulb went off. That moment
Right.
when I started really understanding what being Black in America was like. That moment when I understood what it meant to, what Black power was.
Mm-hmm.
It just I just have such great fond memories of DC, and it always has this very special place in my heart, including HU,
Yes.
the real HU, Howard University, will always have a very special place in my heart. Yeah,
It
the
is
real
so
HU.
funny to hear a HU, for those of you who do not know, Howard University, but there's also another HU, or I'm gonna say a more or another big HBCU, which is Hampton University, which is in Virginia. So they kind of have a tit for tat of who
Right.
is the real HBCU. I'm not in that argument because I didn't go to neither one of those schools, but it's just funny just to hear you guys. We the real HBCUs, and I'll be
The real
like,
HU
girl,
is
let me
very
stay
special.
out of this. But
Not my fight.
so how did let me first roll this out. When we had our private conversation, I knew instantly when you introduced yourself and you were telling me about yourself. I said, "Oh, she went to a HBCU."
Oh, how could you tell? Is that because
Um,
I said that, or you
no,
could
you
tell?
told me.
I told you.
Yeah,
Okay,
when
okay,
you were talking about, you were giving me your background, and so when you were
okay.
saying that you went to Howard University, you didn't say HBCU, you said you went to Howard University. I was like, oh yeah, she getting this topic right here. How did how did HBCU shape you as a Black woman? But I was like, let me not get so gun ho. Maybe she's a little sharp in another area. Let me give her a chance, because I'm real quick with like, all right, that's it right there. I'm like, let me get out this mind frame. But I was like, I didn't meet any other Black person that went to a HBCU, and I really want to talk about this topic. I know one girl says she wants to go to get like her PhD, but I don't feel like it's going to be the same, only because when you're in your 20s, that's like such a prominent and pivotal year. And when you're like in your 30s, it's kind of hard to kind of just shift your mind or kind of just go in a new habit. But I mean, I'll still accept it, but I just feel like going to an HBCU as an undergrad, which we'll get into, it's just, I don't know. I know for me, man, I come from Piscataway, New Jersey, which is, I'm gonna say it's a very diverse. There's a lot of Indians, whites, Asians. Like there's definitely a melting pot. I know my parents said they did that. They definitely wanted me to experience a melting pot because my sister, she was the only Black person in there, so they didn't want that for me. But when I stated like I want to go to an HBCU, I want to be in a school of all Blacks, my mother was a little, you sure? And I'm like, yes, I want to go.
Yes. Right,
She
right,
was
right.
very hesitant. She thought I would turn out like a different way. She did not really have like a good light of an HBCU. She didn't go to college, but that's okay.
What does that mean what does that mean when you say a different way? What does that
So she was brought up in at Newark, New Jersey, Weequahic College. So she sees all black schools as just kind of just being a little bit unorganized. I'm using her words too. It's just being unorganized, late, a bad represent. She didn't want to have like a bad representation because she wanted her kids to excel in the world versus how my father and my mother was. So she's paying for it. Like she wants her kids to be, moving forward. So she wanted the best. And listen here, I proved her wrong. Okay. But,
all right. Right.
I stuck with I want to go to an HBCU. I actually originally wanted to go to North Carolina A&T. They didn't want me to go so far because you said why?
No, I said all right.
Oh, okay. I wanted to go there, but they said that it was too far. Because, when you are applying for colleges, I was under the age of 18 when you had the deadline. So they have to sign off on it. So they didn't sign off on the schools that were like too far away. Maryland was a nice 3 hours away. So they will be able to get there within a hot skip away. Because, I told you, if you don't tell me something, I'm going to go a little, I'm going to wander.
Right.
But attending an HBCU, man, just seeing so many like minds, just seeing the differences of blackness, the hair textures. I think I found my identity going to an HBCU, and within that, Baltimore is like, it's not half black, but it's a high percentage of black versus where I came from. So me being in the culture of Baltimore City, and I actually had an apartment in Baltimore City. So I was really like in the blackness of blackness. That's how I felt. And I just felt like I found my identity living in Baltimore, going to a black school. I cut my hair all off while going to college. I had a short pixie haircut, but just shaving my hair all off and was like, this is me. This is what I want, not what society deems as a woman.
I love it.
And I just felt very confident in just being inspired by the teachers. The teachers were just so eloquently spoken, and I just was very like mesmerized and just loved going to class because they were able to just resonate and identify with things instead of just reading stuff from the books or just going over these things. And then they actually had like personal stories that were like interweaved into the lessons that made me like be an honor roll student. I mean, some will say like the curriculum system is kind of low, but I don't think so. If they're not into it, they're probably just partying. But some of these teachers, I'm gonna say a lot of the teachers were like really into teaching. But I feel like I found my true confidence and my identity going to a black school and also just living in a black community of Baltimore. Child, when I came back the first semester, my parents was just like, who is this child?
Yeah. You go through a metamorphosis and you don't even realize it, but you become that environment just seeps into your soul, into your spirit, into your blood, and you just feel like you can take on the world. At least that's what it did for me.
I felt like I had so much like ambition and just like, yeah, whatever. I seen somebody else do it, like I can do it too. And they're just like, no, you can't. And I'm just like, why can't I? Like I see it when I'm in school, like why? Well, and I'm just like, well, you're basing it off of a white man's curriculum or standards. Like I seen a black person do it at my school. Like they can do it. Why can't I do it? I'm going to go do it. So that's why I said like me going to like I've definitely proven them wrong because when I finished, I done studied abroad at 3 countries. I have 2 degrees undergrad. I had accomplished so much. And my mother was just like, I want to apologize for not wanting you to go to an HBCU because I just viewed going to a black organization or a black institution would be just a bad representation. And I just want the best for you and your sister. So But yeah.
Well, I think there's something that's been done in America. If we sit back and we look at why we believe that, it's because the country has done what I call an indoctrination that everything that's white is better.
Right.
And historically speaking, that was true. Back when my mom and dad were growing up in the 40s and 50s in Jim Crow South,
Mm-hmm.
everything that was white was better.
Mm-hmm.
They had better schools, they had better books, better roads in their neighborhoods. Their homes were better. Everything was better. And so when integration began, there was this notion that, okay, especially when Blacks were being bused to different schools, which were predominantly white, instead of the country doing and giving access to equipment and books and technology as they did the other, meaning white majority schools, they decided, well, let's integrate so that we have access. But in doing that, not saying that that was wrong in and of itself, I'm just speaking from a socio-economic or socio perspective, social perspective, is that it began to set up in us this notion that everything that white people have, everything that they do, that is better than who we are and what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was just the opposite. My experience having gone to Howard undergrad, it was what I had been told, I realized wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that because I was in a predominantly white environment in high school and growing up, that everything they had was better. I realized when I got to Howard that what I had been fed about what being Black in America, that it was wrong. The notion that Black isn't good enough, that Black people aren't good enough, that we're not smart
Right.
enough, totally was wiped out because I went to Howard and I realized that there were all of these beautiful people, all shades, all around the nation, who were smart and confident and bold and creative. I had never been involved or in an environment where everybody was like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started going, well, wait a minute. So I thought I was special. I thought I was like the only smart Black person in my school.
Right.
Or there were like two or three of us in the National Honor Society. You begin this feeling as if, this notion that you're not that you're better, but that you have been assimilated and assimilating for most of your life. And then when you go into an environment that is predominantly African American, predominantly majority Black, you realize, okay, you're with the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these the notion that Black isn't good went out the window. It was like,
Right.
what? All of these beautiful, smart Black people?
Right.
It just gave me that extra boost of confidence and love and that spirit and feeling of like Black power and that we're better together, that we're great together. And it was just the best of my life. Seeing people who looked like me in major key decision-making positions, whether, the president of the university, all the way down to, the staff, people who were serving us in the cafeteria, our janitors, our teachers, our professors. I mean, everybody. It was Black excellence at its best on every level. And I think about that now, and I wonder, why even in 2022, 2023, in current states, that there is this notion still that white is better or that white is right. And I believe that post George Floyd, that the conversation that we're beginning to have again, that our Blackness is beautiful, that cooperation, Black cooperation and Black connection and Black collaboration, we need to get back to that we need to create a world where we are not the other, a world where we're not considered or to be deemed as, minority, that we are the majority in our environments, and how that speaks to our children and makes them feel confident and bold in who they are, that they can matriculate in any environment, whether it's all Black, all white, majority Black, majority white, diversity, whatever it is, that they feel confident in themselves. And that's what going to an HBCU gave me. It gave me that confidence that I needed to matriculate in any environment. So that when I walk in the room, I feel comfortable walking into any room.
Yes.
I feel comfortable being who I am in any room. I feel comfortable wearing my blackness in any room.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel good enough about who I am as a person that I don't need to make you feel comfortable with who I am. You don't feel comfortable, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. But I'm going to
Right.
speak what I speak. I'm going to be who I am. And I'm going to show up as a Black woman. And that experience, having been at an HBCU, is what gave me the confidence in who I am as a person, as a woman, as a Black woman, to feel confident and to have value and worth in myself and for myself, that I know when someone is mistreating me. I know when you are treating me less than who I am. I know when you're not treating me to my level of professionalism. I know when you're using your microaggressions to try to denigrate me and keep me down.
Right.
That's what having an HBCU education gave me, the confidence, the effrontery to stand up and say, I see who you are, I see what you're doing, and I'm not about that business. I'm taking my resources, my intellect, and I'm going to serve myself and my people. I don't need to be in an environment that doesn't protect me, that doesn't serve humanity. And I don't think I would have been there had it not. I don't think I ever would have evolved to that had it not been for that HBCU experience, because it grounded me and it gave me the foundation to speak truth to power, to not be afraid, and to be confident in who I am as a Black person and as a Black woman, and to sit in it and stand in it, and to harness it, and to love it, and to embrace it, and to be bold about it, and to be bold about it. Had it not been for my HBCU experience, I don't think I ever would have had that. And I also will admit, I had a little bit of an extra experience with that, because my mom and dad both went to Grambling State, another HBCU, and they also served on the staff as professors. So I had a little bit of both experiences at a young age, when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade, being in an all Black environment. So I had the best of all the worlds. Yeah. But being at an HBCU, I mean, it was the most pivotal moment in my life that truly changed me and opened my eyes as a woman and as a Black person in America. And like I said, had it not been for Howard, I don't think I would have been the confident woman that I am and that I became, and the ability to understand who I am and the values that I have, and to walk away when an environment is no longer servicing me and no longer good for me. That's that boldness that an HBCU gives you, that maybe being in a different environment perhaps would not, because you are surrounded by people who are, as I mentioned earlier, just smart and intelligent, and we are protective of each other. And that protection, that feeling of, okay, we are all in this together. We're all seeking the same thing out of life. And, you see me for who I am. There's something beautiful and powerful about that, when you know you're being viewed not for your color, but because of who you are, and because you identify with each other. Like, you see me, you hear me, you feel my soul. You see me as a human being. You're not basing your connection with me on color, but because we understand each other, because we are coming from the same kind of environments, or we have the same experiences in the workplace. You understand the language that we both understand and speak. And had it not been for an HBCU, I would not be who I am today. So, I give hats off to Howard, and I will, the real HU. I will always glow about
I'm gonna get somebody from Hampton.
we'll say it there. But I will always, and I am pro HBCU. I am pro anything that is protective of you as a human being. And that's what I believe HBCUs give us. The teachers, they give us the real world perspective, so that they prepare you for the real world, so you can matriculate in many different areas and avenues and environments. And it prepared me for life. It prepared me for life. And so, as we're speaking with our son about, as he prepares to go to school in college, he has another 3.5 years, and he'll be making that decision. We are supportive of wherever he decides to go. But one thing that I love about us is that we are very clear about having conversations about race and
Yeah.
racism and discrimination and how to navigate in many environments. And my son has heard many a story of my own personal experiences in life, especially in the workplace. And we have those conversations with him so that he's aware that, your blackness, you can't hide it. I mean, you are a black man. And with that comes some experiences that you should not have to deal with. We should not have to have to talk with you about making sure that you got your hands on 10 and 2. And then when a police officer, but that whole police officer
Mm-hmm.
conversation, we shouldn't have to have it, but we do. And yet we also want to make sure that he understands that in spite of that, you're still to be confident and to love your blackness and to be proud of who you are and to never strip yourself to make other people feel comfortable.
Right.
Not going to do it. Not going
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, I feel like attending HBCU has provided me tools. They definitely had like extra things to provide us tools. And also just having like those uncomfortable conversations, like these conversations that I see like on Instagram or TikTok. I'm just like, I've been having these conversations within like the classroom of an HBCU. Like these aren't like, wow, like the
They're
complexion
not cool.
thing. Yeah, like the complexion thing. Like we know the lighter skinned African American gets a little bit more treatment than the dark skinned one because, the programming that was done in the history, earlier times.
Indoctrination. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I just find it very interesting and then just digging into somebody's profile and see that they did not go to school, they didn't go to a HBCU. But if you went to like a HBCU, these conversations, these tools, these little games that they put us on game on so much stuff. And I cannot wait to have these little discussions when I have my kids about just being your blackness. I definitely see the difference when I'm in the room versus when my sister's in the room because it's just a total night and day, summer and winter. Like it's just so different. So different because
Mm-hmm.
she went to a white school and I went to an all black school. And then when I went to a white school for grad, I'm like, girl, I need to go back to a I need to go back to a black school. What is this? But I'm at University of Miami. So let me try to stick this out. But I'm
But having gone to an HBCU though prepared you for grad school so that you can
yes.
still be in that environment and sit in it and still be, to be in the environment and appreciate the education.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't change who you were as a person, as a black
No.
woman. And I think that's the difference is that the HBCU grounds you in your connection to Black America. It keeps you grounded in your Blackness. It gives you that foundation so that you can matriculate in different environments and experiences.
Yeah, I feel like
But
it was like a
your core is
stepping.
still Black.
Yeah, I feel like it was like a stepping stool where they were just like helping build like the stepping stool. So when I'm out in the world, like I'm able to just navigate properly instead of just misrepresenting
Yeah,
myself.
absolutely.
But yeah, I
Absolutely.
can definitely tell the difference. How was the homecoming? Because I know the last time I went to Howard, Jesus Lord, the driver.
They do know how to do homecoming. They do know how to do homecoming. I will be honest with you. I never could go to my homecoming in because I was working in an industry where I had to work whenever homecoming was because it's what's called during the book. And the book is the time when all of us have to be there and we can't take any time off or any
Mm,
holidays off or anything like that because it's during the book and that's a really pivotal time in the broadcasting industry. So I have not, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but the last homecoming I attended was 1996. Was it 96?
woo!
It might have been, was it 96? Yes, it was either 96 or 97. And so it's been a long time. But I see all the pictures and everybody going to them. And so now that I'm out of that field full time, this will probably be the first year that I'll go back to visit since 1996, just because my job didn't allow me to take the time off. And I was always on call 24/7. Whenever there's breaking news, you got to be here in town if something happens. And so, but yeah, now that I'm doing my own little thing and footloose and fancy free, I now have the freedom to go. And so I probably will be here this year, see some folks and whatnot. But yeah, from what I
Really?
hear, they still put on a good party.
Wow. Okay. I haven't been to a homecoming since I'm 34 now. So yeah, since I was 27. Yeah,
Okay.
27 was like my year where I'm just like, all right, girl, we on our own. Like your parents not supporting you. What you gonna do?
I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm
27 was
good.
like the pivotal year, and I kind of just was like, I don't want to bring my old bad habits into my 30s. Let me start shifting. So I haven't been to homecoming since 27, but I do want to go back before I'm 40. But man, I mean, all the homecomings I've went to, child, Bob.
Right?
I done went to Howard, Alexandria, and Louisiana. I done went to North Carolina A&T, of course, GHO. Hey y'all. Who else have I gone to? North Carolina, Central. Child, I had a tour bus. That's why my parents would
Wow.
always say, like, where are you now? What it's that time of the year. Where
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you now? I went to Tuskegee homecoming. I have went to so many homecomings. It was like a tour
Mhm.
bus for me. So me just taking a break
Wow.
now is like nothing. So I would drive. I had a full life. That's why I said, child,
I love it.
my 20s, okay? I don't child
Right. You're like, I was doing it. I was
I
living
was
it.
out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I went to a lot of homecoming. I did not make it to Texas because that drive, I was like, whew, that drive. But FAMU.
Mhm.
FAMU, the Rattlers. That was fun. Clark Atlanta and Spelman Morehouse, they were okay.
Mhm.
They were
Mhm.
okay. They're really like to like profile, and the Greek life is very big there. So
Mhm.
their whole
Mhm.
homecomings around there. But I think I had the most fun at FAMU, North Carolina A&T. I forgot what year for Howard. Um, so many drunken nights. Jesus Christ.
Like so many good fun nights.
Some of the drunken nights, I don't even know how I got back. Some friends
Mhm.
lost. That's definitely how you definitely can test your friends out when you taking them out of their element and you bring them into a new one on a road trip and into a new destination. You definitely see their real character. So, I mean, some friends lost, but
Girl, yes, traveling, whether it's an HBCU or homecoming or whatever it is, traveling with anybody will let you see, okay, are we gonna still be friends after this? It can make or break a relationship.
yeah,
It really.
one of them, I was just like, girl, you gotta find your way home. I'm not tolerating this. She met someone with the supplier. I'm gonna say supplier. Oh, to and I was like, girl, did you invite that person over to my friend's apartment? You don't even know my friend. Are you crazy? He could have been a
Yeah,
killer. I'm like, yeah, no, you
yeah.
gotta find a way home. So, yeah, like,
Remember I talked to you before about like when was that one time when you like have to let a friend go? That's when you're like, girl, we're done. Because if you're gonna disrespect and go over a boundary like this one, what else won't you do? So
yeah,
we're done.
folks is crazy. So yeah, it's that it's been in and out flows of friendships, but yeah, she just like you're staying over someone's house for free. This is like my friend's apartment. It's not a university apartment, and you're inviting like a stranger. You provided the address to a stranger. Like, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Folks is crazy, but homecoming is just amazing. Amazing. It's like the Thanksgiving of for college. It's just a big old potluck of just food, entertainment. You got the older folks, the alumni coming. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. And the teachers understand. They know we not coming to class.
And I'm like, look, it's party weekend. Some of the teachers will come home on the yard with you. They're like, calm down with this. Like, we know what it is
So
to celebrate.
yes, homecoming. I don't even know how to describe it for anyone that hasn't gone to like a HBCU. I know some people are like the Beyonce tribute that she did in Coachella. I'm like, that's a cute little teaser of like HBCU, but like you
You
really
have to
need
live
to,
it. You have to be there and
yeah,
live
you
it
have
and
to
immerse it.
visit and get
Yeah, we can tell
the
you all day long,
ambiance. Yeah, you have to
but
get
it's
the
not the same.
ambiance. Yeah, no, it's not the
Hmm.
same. It's the energy, the camaraderie. You're getting so many black people from so many different backgrounds. I mean, there's some people from that's coming from like the Bahamas to that's at your HBCU. There's just so many different layers of blackness. And when you guys just have fun during the homecoming, it's just homecoming alone. It's just amazing. It's just a week full of activities that just celebrates your schools. I don't even know how to define it. How would you define homecoming for HBCU?
God, it's just like the biggest. I mean, you don't want to use the same word to describe it, but it is. It's the biggest homecoming ever. It's literally coming home to the Mecca, wherever your Mecca is. You're coming home to an environment that is supportive, that is loving, that sees you and values you. And it's home. And that's what home should be for many of us. You know, your home
Yes.
is a place of refuge, a place for protection, a place where you can be yourself, where you can let your hair down and really be yourself and people see your humanity. That's what
Hmm.
homecoming is. That's what an HBCU offers. And it's the best feeling in the
Yeah.
world. I mean, I still feel it. Like I still remember so many moments of just pure ecstasy and joy in Black excellence that have it's lived with me forever. And when there are moments where I feel a little down or I'm questioning some of my professional moves, there's something about that experience that comes back to me and it reignites me
Hmm.
and refuels my soul and my spirit that says, you know who you are, girl. You got
Yeah.
this. You know who you are. You got
Yes.
this. It's
Yeah.
almost unspeakable. Like it's such a pivotal, life altering experience
Hmm.
that I owe my life to. I really
Yeah.
do. I owe my life to my husband. When I talk to him about it, sometimes he went to Temple, so he never
Okay.
had that long HBCU experience. And he says, even to this day, he's like, I should have gone to an HBCU. He's like, I wanted to, but yeah, my parents wouldn't let me or whatever. And he says, I feel like I should have done that too, because he missed out on so much of just the Black excellence, the Black camaraderie that you can't really explain. I mean, I could tell you, but unless you're in it and you lived it, it's not the same. I mean, I could tell you the experience, but you'll never really fully understand
No.
and appreciate it because you didn't live it. I lived it. I lived it. I breathed it. It was in my soul. It's in my blood, and it never goes away. It will be in you forever, always in your soul, and in your spirit forever.
Yeah, even when I go to like a homecoming that I didn't even go to that school, I still fit in because I understand the culture.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
I met some
exactly.
crazy. I met some random girl at a homecoming, and we became friends because she's like, "You're not from
Oh,
here," and I'm like, "No, girl, I'm just parlaying around." Like,
I love and now you all and that's it. Those are like the best friendships that you will ever have in
mm-hmm.
life. It's so cool when I see people from Howard who are still going on trips together and they're friends for life. I mean, that's it. Those are friendships that can last a
Forever.
lifetime because
Mm-hmm.
that's when you really are becoming your own person and
Yes.
you're coming to your own and you are growing up with these other people who are also trying to figure out what life is all about and
Mm-hmm.
you're living this kind of Black excellence you're in this little cocoon together and to then leave and to flourish and to grow and for us all to be successful like it's the best thing in the world and it's just so welcoming and you just feel like that's your home, it's your emotional spiritual home forever.
Yes. It's like a
Forever.
home away from home.
It is like it just makes me feel all good inside. It still gives me goosebumps. I mean, I just have so many great memories and, the experiences working, on the newspaper when I was there. And it was
Mm-hmm.
my first time really getting involved in journalism and, working on campus and interviewing people. And
Mm-hmm.
it just was such a great, I mean, just a great environment. Many other people who I went to school with, still friends with, and watching them rise in their professions and in the
Mm-hmm.
journalism world, it's magical. It's a
Yeah.
magic that never leaves. It lives within me forever and will forever.
I
So
will
we've told
have.
our
Mhm.
my son, like, wherever you want to go, we would support you. Wherever you want to go, we'll support you.
I will have to say Howard, FAMU, and North Carolina A&T. You guys connections after school, like the community is just so tight lip. You
That's true.
guys are like, yeah,
It's
it's
true.
just unbreakable on like the connections. Like,
It's
oh
unbreakable.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
when you guys like
Mm-hmm.
excel, you guys like will bring on the people on once you're on. Like it's just the bond. I know when I was like brought on a job and I just see like the group of people and they're like kind of talking. I'm just like, oh, how do you guys like know? Oh, I went to school with the. I'm like, oh, where'd y'all went to school? And they're like, oh, we went to Howard, or oh, we went to Morehouse. And I'm just like, this is so crazy. It's always those three schools that are just like so
Next.
tight knit. It's just the bond. It's like unbreakable. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's unbreakable. Like I said, I'm still friends with so many people from Howard. And even if I didn't know you, when I meet you and you're like, oh, I went to Howard, we might have missed each other by a couple of years, or they were before me, or I was, before them, or whatever. But we weren't on the campus at the same time. We might have missed each other by 2 or 3 years. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Like, HU,
Yeah, you hate you
boom.
family.
Yeah, we're family. We are family. In fact, I'm doing a really interesting project coming up at the end of January. And he went to Howard Law. He went someplace else undergrad and went to Howard Law School. And
Hmm.
I was Howard undergrad and I went someplace else for law school. But that HU connection,
Right.
I mean, we're connected because of that. We're now collaborating on a project coming up at the end of January that hopefully will be in your television homes one of these days pretty soon. But anyway, having said that, it's that camaraderie and that connection, and you're like, yeah, I want to help another HU person prosper. Like we're in this together,
Yes.
and it's not just because of Howard. It's because we know that they came from good soil. That who they are, like you get it. Like we get each other, and I know that your level of excellence is where
Top
mine is.
tier.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's just top. It's cream of the crop. So we know what you're bringing to the table. Now, not everybody, but for the most part, that's always been my experience. Yeah, that old saying, every skin folk ain't kinfolk. I mean, sometimes the people
Ciao.
who might not see things the way we do, but for the most part, that's always been my experience.
Yes. I wish I would have networked a lot more while I was in school because I went to Morgan State and Coppin State. Those are the two colleges in Baltimore. But yeah, I wish I would have networked more. Maybe because I had like an off campus apartment. Like I had an apartment, and I drove. Like I was a full adult in college, not working or working whenever I felt like working. I wish I would have networked a lot more than I did. I only networked when it was like time to network or do a project, and then I kind of just like allow things to just fall through the cracks. But I don't know if I would have lived on campus, maybe that would have been a different story. But I do think that me just having my own apartment, having like a handful of friends that would come over, that kind of just hindered me from keeping my relationships. But when I do meet like an HBCU, like just talking to just random people or working on a project, I'm just like, oh girl, we gotta stay connected.
You gotta stay connected. That's right. Like we're gonna be connected for life. If you see.
Yes. I think the closest thing to an HBCU as an adult is Essence Fest because there's just so many groups of black people in one event. Like it's just catered to the black people, and there's actually events in yeah, concerts that's like catered to the Black demographic. I think that's like the only, yeah, that's like the closest thing of like a HBCU, like just experiencing so many Black people under one roof. But I don't think there's anything else that kind of just resembles going to, yeah, an HBCU. Have you ever been to Essence?
You know what? I've never been. It's on my bucket list. It definitely is. I did not get a chance to go this year because I work with I have a client who is based in New Orleans too,
Okay.
and so she's keep telling me, "You gotta go, you gotta go." And so hopefully I'll get a chance to come this year.
I like New Orleans a lot. That's a hidden gem, that place. It's very historic. I
Mhm.
love like the historic roads, and the houses are still like, I don't know. I like historical stuff and just looking through. There's like a butterfly like museum. Like there's just so many cool little things. If you like stuff like that, like New Orleans has like a lot of like hidden gems, and they have a lot of boutique stuff. The food is well, any state or city that has amazing food, I am there. Their food is amazing. Okay. I
Oh, girl, I would be 100 times because I would be eating like all of that good and the coladas and the po' boys and the etouffees and all that. And look, don't forget the oh my gosh, the
pecan pie.
beignet, all that stuff. Yes, I would be big as a house, but it's
Yeah, the food is
food is so
amazing.
good. Mhm.
Oh man, you
So
haven't been to New Essence Fest. That'll be a cute little
I gotta go.
family. That'll be a great like family trip. It's family oriented, so you can do that. That's a possibility.
Yeah, you know what? I might be going. When I think about that, I've got a little kind of not a side hustle. It's a business, a curated beach accessory business, and so I may be possibly going as a vendor. I've been thinking about that, so
Okay.
I'll get a little bit of business and pleasure mixed in together.
Yes. Yes. It's always the weekend before, going into 4th of July.
Okay, yep.
Yes. I don't know. I might go. I always stay at
Right on.
the Marriott with the waterfront, because there's two different
Yes,
Marriotts there. I
the
go to the
Marriott.
one in the Marriott with the waterfront. Okay. I need my little balcony. Okay.
Right. Like I need a little view. I need a room with a
Okay.
view.
Man, we're gonna listen to our last little eavesdropper.
Okay, what we got?
Let me
Who
see.
we got? What we got?
Share screen. All right. All right. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Happy New Year.
New Year, beautiful.
So, if you would have went to a HBCU, would have shaped you as a Black woman differently?
Absolutely. I believe that any black colleges and higher education always shapes you in a different way. It makes you more prosperous in life.
I definitely agree, because I'm a HBCU alumni.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Love is real.
Yeah, the HBCU experience just shaped me in so many ways personally. I don't even know who I would be if I would have went to a non HBCU. I don't even know what they call it now, because these little buzzwords folks be creating on the internet. But
Mhm.
yeah, just going to HBCU during my 20s when I don't have life figured out, it definitely helped me just kind of just align everything I want to do as a woman now, or just growing. And they just provided the right tools for me to be prosperous in my personal life and as well as my business life, because I definitely still have some notes from when I was attending class or projects. I'm still like using some of the methods that the professors have made us do, and
Mhm.
some of them like emphasize like I suggest you use it this way. But as a person of color, you need to work a little bit more harder than your white counterparts, or the white female, because when you look at the dollar amount, Black women are at the bottom of the totem pole, and they would actually show us the dollar amount compared to like men or Spanish women or Asian women or Indian women or whatever. They just had like that full breakdown. Instead of just feeding us information, they actually provided us, examples. And after they showed us examples, they also just told us strategies. And if we wanted to discuss more about it, we can go to their office hours and kick it with them and still have more of those discussions. So man, oh man, there's just so much, that they just provided.
They definitely give you the realization, the reality of what the real world is like. Mm-hmm. Not what it's going to be, but what it's like, because they've been there. And that's one of the moments that, again, became really clear for me when I began to evaluate where I was working, who I was working with, and working for, and having the confidence, the effrontery to stand up for myself. And knowing that everything that I had, God gifted me with. Mm-hmm. And he decides how it's going to be used. So I was just there for a season. Right. And God wants to use those gifts in another way. And my decision was born out of that foundation that I was, that I got from an HBCU, to know that my value and worth, that I don't need anybody else to define it. I define it for myself, and I know what it is, and I know what value and worth that I'm bringing to the table. Mm-hmm. And when you find out about, whether it's, the lack of, respect that you're getting in the workplace, the unfair treatment, the disparate treatment, inequality, and disparate treatment financially, you're not getting as much. When you become really clearly aware of the truth of that, you have to stop and ask yourself, okay, do I want to continue to work in this environment? Do I want to continue to be here? Or the tools and the gifts that God gave me, what I have, who I have become because of an HBCU, I know that I have it within myself to go out and do something else for someone else and for myself. And like I said earlier, had it not been for that, I would not be in a position. I would have just probably settled. I would have settled. And now, but because of the HBCU experience, our professors and the staff, they teach you never to settle. Mm-hmm. Never to settle with yourself in terms of your own personal intellectual acumen and where you want to be in life and what you want to succeed and who you are as a person. Always continue to grow and to become better. But because I know and very clear that because we've been taught that you have to be better than someone else's best, mm-hmm. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me that I'm not up to par, that I don't meet the standard, or that I don't excel, and right. And that I'm better than the standard, better than the average. You can say it, but it's not true. You can say it, but it's not true. Right. So when you know the truth, it makes you that much more just confident in who you are. And you're able to walk away and say, you know what, let me start doing for myself. Because I don't need you. I don't need to depend on you. I've got it all in here and all up here. I've got the heart, the soul, and the intellect to make it happen for myself. And to do for myself and for my people. That's the thing, too, that really just inspired me. And I'm so excited about 2023 is that, this journey, as I've mentioned before, sometimes you don't have a choice. But when you make the choice to value yourself over being comfortable in someone else's environment that wasn't really meant for us to be in the first place, mm-hmm. That's when you walk away and say, you know what, I trust the universe to give me everything that I need. Give me everything that I need. Give me everything that I need and then some. My cup is going to runneth over. And that's how I feel about life now. But the HBCU gives you that solid rock foundation to be confident in who you are and what you can do.
Yeah.
And to not accept anything less.
Oh, yeah, because as soon as I went from going to HBCU and then going to a white school, I just noticed the shift of treatment, the looks. I don't look like I don't have straight hair and normal earrings. Like they're like kind of looking at me like, why is she here? Like, why is she even allowed in this building? Yeah, the treatment was just so much different, and I was just very aware of it. But they also prepared me because I had them help me kind of just get myself prepared for grad school and we were able to have those discussions, like, you've been accepted, this is great, like, congratulations, like, University of Miami is very big, they have their own health system, but to know that you are a Black woman that does not even look like the Black woman that they, you know, picture as, which is straight hair that's similar to theirs and conservative earrings and the way I talk, I'm not switch coding my tonality of my voice or anything else. Like, that's definitely not gonna happen. And it still ain't happening with my clients now. So
I love it. I love it. But you know what, though? It's, you know, that's just something that you mentioned about, you know, most of us as Black folks, we do live a life where we are switch coding all the time, and you begin to live I felt like I was living a double life sometimes. Not that I'm that much different as a Black person anywhere else. I mean, I'm gonna always still be myself. But when you realize that you showing up as who you are is not appreciated and valued, and it's not respected, that's when you were like, okay, it's time to make a move. It's time to be in an environment that really appreciates you. Because I believe that you can work, it's really about human beings. It's about human beings being able to appreciate and accept who everyone is, whoever they are, and however they are, and however they show up in the world, to respect people. Right. This is an issue of humanity. It's not necessarily about Black and white and Asian, but it's allowing all of us to be whoever you are, to show up as your authentic self and to be respected, to see me for who I am, respect my opinions, respect my cultural background and perspective. Respect my opinions, respect my voice.
Right.
If they don't close the door and then all of you all go behind the door and you're chit-chatting about us and running your mouths and talking about us and denigrating us and then trying to pretend as if, you know, then you come back into the room and you're like, like, what they don't realize is that we see you too. Right. I see what you're doing and I understand what you're doing and I get the game. They don't expect for us to know, because we don't talk about it. We just kind of put up with it and we
suppress it inside.
That we navigate. And there are times when I just want to be like, girl, I see you. Like, I know the game you're playing, so quit. But we wouldn't have to do that if people would accept us, regardless of your race and creed and color, nationality, ethnicity, background, if they would just respect who you are as a human being. If we had more people who did that, we had more people who were allies in humanity and not allies in trying to make us complicit in their way of thinking and
European standards.
What a better world we all would live in. But that's why I believe we're seeing this mass exodus of, I don't want to, maybe it's not mass, but we're seeing a number of, you know, people of color who are like, I'm done. When they were during COVID and they weren't having to go into the office and the workplace, they were like, oh my God, I can breathe. I don't have to worry about, you know, this person and that person. And I feel like I could just be myself. And then when it was time to go back, they were like, I don't want to work. I just want to stay remote, because we realized that we were being harmed emotionally, psychologically in the workplace because of the microaggressions. That's real. People don't want to believe that it's real, but it's real.
It's very real.
I'm writing about it and I'm going to be talking about it for the rest of my life, because I want to make sure that especially African-American women understand that I see you, I know what you're going through because I've been through it. And if it can happen to me, it is happening. It can happen to you. But what do we do? How do we put ourselves in a position of power and strength? How do we use these moments that give us clarity so that we can make the best decisions for our lives and for our families? Because at the end of the day, my job does not define who I am.
Right. Or your race.
Who I am defines who I am. But what I'm not going to do, and nor any other Black woman do, is work in a place where they feel as if, and they know, because the feeling is knowledge. We're not just making and creating something. It is knowledge. But we are really working in hostile, abusive environments. Right. And when you know that and you recognize that, it's time to go, because life is too short to live and work with people who are disrespectful, who don't see you for who you are. And again, I keep going back to the HBCU, but that's what an HBCU gives you. You're like, I know better. My ancestors taught me better. Their spirits are in me. Their souls are in me. You know, the Ida B. Wells of the world, the Phyllis Wheatleys, My people, the Frederick Douglasses of the world, my people taught me. They are in my spirit, and they have shown me what I need to do to be successful. And what I'm not going to do is be silent. What I'm not going to do is be disrespected. I want to live and work in an environment that sees who I am and treats me as a human being. And where that does not exist, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. So thank you, HBCU.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because sometimes it was hard talking about it before there was like social media, because there's the bridge between the gap of parents who have no technology and the kids now. Like it's a gap, but I've definitely been a part of situations at work where you feel like you're being microaggression and you're trying to report it to HR, and they're just like, "Oh, are you sure you're not?"
HR's not your friend.
Girl, I know. Oh, I learned it the hard way. I learned it the hard way.
HR's not your friend. HR's there to protect
it's the business. It's the business friends.
They're there to protect the company. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care what happens. They're not going to do investigations that are going to be objective. They're there to protect the company. So that's my number one thing for everybody in 2023 is don't ever think that HR is your friend. They're not.
Get an attorney.
Tell HR too, because they'll set you up. It's true. It's true because I've lived it. HR is not your friend.
Yeah, get an attorney. Yeah, get an attorney, your own attorney.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those discussions where they just like, or they try to steal your idea and then give it off to the
they
white.
Give all the praise and glory to somebody else. Mm-hmm.
I've definitely had that, and my mother was definitely mad. Like, why did you? And I'm just like, I'm not taking a pay cut, and they stole my idea, and she's not understanding like the double-edged sword of them stealing from a black person, and my work is way better than that person. She just
the reality of it is. Mm-hmm. The reality of it is those environments, they know what they're doing. It's intentional. It's not, we didn't know. It's intentional. And it's intentional. And that's discrimination and that's racism. And that's what we pay. That's what we deal with all the time. And so, sometimes it's difficult for parents to understand because they didn't deal with what we're dealing with in the way that we are now. I mean, racism for them was, calling you the N-word or putting a noose, at your desk at the office. And now it's the microaggressions that technically that are not illegal. I mean, they're very objective, but we know as Black folks what it really is. It is racism and it is discrimination.
Right.
And so now we at a point in life where we can talk about this openly and hold people accountable. And so that's one of the things that I'm working on in 2023 is that, I'm using what I know as a journalist to be able to raise the veil on these conversations that people are afraid of having and to understand, it's not just about Black folks being aware. It's really letting everybody, regardless of what color you are, but especially the majority, understand that this is what racism is. Racism is not just the N-word. That's not what it is. That's like a scintilla of what it is. But we've allowed you all to define what racism is. And Black people, we need to tell you what it is because we are the ones who define what it is, not you.
Right. And also
Don't
parents.
That's a whole other conversation. I'm real passionate about this thing because I've lived it.
Oh, good.
And I'm about to blow the lid off the top.
And also some parents just want you to just shut up and have a stability job. Like they just want you to have job benefits, pension, like that's all they know. And it's a different environment.
We're different. It's a different world.
It's a different world and they're just still stuck in theirs. But
no, but think about it. That's the way they were brought up. I mean, when they were brought up in the era of, you go along to get along.
I probably would have been killed as a slave then.
Girl, I could have been. Listen, I would have been killed. I would have hurt somebody.
What you say
I would have been the one. I'd be like, you said what? Okay. But you do better when you know better, and so that as future generations continue, every generation should get better, and so now our generation, your generation, even compared to mine, you are taking it to the next level, and it's supposed to get better. And that's the beauty of it, is that every generation should be better than the prior generation. So even in my fight, it's people in my era, are very much afraid to speak up, are very much afraid to stand up, are very afraid to go against the grain because they're worried about their money. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. You got to have money to live in this world. But if you're clear about who you are as a person, if you're clear about the skill set that God is giving you, you owe no one nothing. You owe yourself the truth, and you owe yourself the ability to live and work in an environment that protects you protects your humanity, that sees your humanity. And yet there's so many people who are like, I get it, I see it, I know it's racism, I know it's discriminatory, I know they're doing all that, I know, but I don't want to mess my money up. I want to make sure I get my check. I get it. But if you're clear about who you are as a person and you're clear about what you bring to the world in terms of your intellect and your ability and your profession, why are you worried about a check? God's going to provide. At least he always has for me. I mean, I believe in that. I believe that when you err on the side of right over wrong, and you hold a candle, you hold a light to the truth, and you speak truth to power, only goodness can come from that.
Yeah.
Even if it means I have to take a hit, it means I have to lose my job or walk away, I'm willing to take that because what you're doing is so, there's another word I want to use, but it's so wrong that my spirit won't allow me to let you get away with it.
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
There's no amount of money you can pay me that's going to let you do what you know you're doing.
Right.
Wrong. So guess what? I'm that girl who fights back. I'm that chick who fights back.
Yeah, it's just a crazy world living as a Black person, but you went to a good old HBCU. You have a nice little escape.
That spirit and that spunk came from the HBCU.
It's a nice little thing. Yes.
That HBCU is what gives us that, like, nuh-uh, you don't know me.
It's
like,
a nice little escape.
Yeah, it is.
It's a nice escape to whatever you better enjoy that 4 years or however many years you in there, because once you step foot across that stage and you look around and I'm like, girl, what is this?
I know. You're in the real world, you know? So you're in that little cocoon, that protective cocoon for 4 years. But think about it this way. The HBCU gives us everything we need to face any challenge and to rise above.
And we can also go back as well. Like, hey, you're part of the alumni family. Like, hey, I need assistance. I'm a graduate of class of 2010. And they will actually welcome you back. Versus me going to a non-HBCU, they were like, you're not an active student here, so unfortunately we can't give you those resources. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Okay, whatever. But child, yes, HBCU was definitely an escape of just nourishment and home away from home. And just having fun. Yeah, and protection. And yeah, as soon as you leave, just know all skin folks ain't kin folks. And they don't have the same motives or same hunger as you do. I'm gonna just definitely tell you that now, because I have lived in various places and I'm like, oh, this ain't the Black person. This ain't the same group of Black people I see at the HBCUs. Let me step away from here.
Right. And it's true, you know, in moments of experiences that put people to the test, that's when you realize if they're skin folk or if they're kinfolk. Because in my estimation, if you're a kinfolk, we fight the same battles.
Right.
And we're not fighting with each other.
We're not
fighting
competitive.
Collaboratively against other forces. And if you're suffering, I'm suffering. If I'm winning, you're winning because I'm going to pull you up. But if you're suffering and I see you in the ditch and I can pull you up, I'm pulling you up. I'm bringing you with me. And if you're suffering and if I see someone doing something against you, they're really doing it against me too. So guess what? I'm here to pull you up. I'm helping you. I'm in the fight with you. But there are
Right.
a lot of people who are in the fight, whether you go to an HBCU or not. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but
Yeah.
you've got to know if they're in the fight with you, which is a real ride or die. People are, I'm a ride or die. I'd be like, okay, let's see what happens. If you ride with me or you're gonna die with me with this one. Like let's put this to the test. And sometimes a lot of people fail the test.
A lot. I have to watch their behavior first before that I hear that quote. Cause folks
Yeah, I'm
behavior,
like,
yeah, folks
don't call me
actions,
ride, don't say ride or die unless you don't, you haven't been tested yet. I'll see.
yeah, people's actions speak before they even qualify themselves. And I'm just like, girl, your action on this day already let me know how you really are or how you really feeling. So I'm not interested in
I'm
continuing with this
good.
girl.
Yeah. And there's a certain amount of freedom that comes with that too. I'm telling you, when I say I'm the freest I've ever been, freedom. I am free. I am free, 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 free. And
Mm-hmm.
it's an amazing feeling because now I can see if someone's on the same page with me. I can see if they're going to be nasty. I can tell based on how they act or speak or respond if that's the kind of person I want to be in collaboration with. And it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. It just means that I have a different standard that I've set for myself that
Mm-hmm.
everyone may not have, or some other people may not have. And that's fine. You do you. But what I need to be successful, what I deem as being successful, what I need to feel as if I'm being protected, what I need to make sure that my humanity is being seen. Maybe totally different from yours, and that's okay. So you go do you, and I will do me, and I will continue to work with people who I know understand me and see me and value me. And that comes with time, and yeah, you could say it, but it doesn't mean that you live it. And when you're
Right.
tested, that's when I know if you really mean it or if you just say it.
It's a lot of copycatters out there in the world,
Ooh,
especially living on social media. Lord have mercy.
tell me about it. Tell me about it. Let the test come and see what they do.
Oh, if you
Let
haven't,
the
if
test come.
if y'all trying to decide what college y'all want to go on, definitely consider an HBCU.
Yes. I
I
hope I hope it inspired some moms or dads out there or young people who are
Yes.
like do an HBCU. You will never regret it, whether it's undergrad or graduate school. You will never regret it because what they get in life skills will eclipse anything they'll get intellectually, regardless of where they go. The life skills, the social skills that you get from an HBCU are bar none. No
Yeah.
competition.
And if you have just no confidence, child, when you come out, I'm gonna say the first semester, depending on your personality. I'm gonna just say that, depending on your personality, but by the time you get your degree, child, you are gonna have a 180 confidence makeover of yeah, going to HBCU. Cause child, you can't tell me nothing. Like you what? I'm doing that. I don't know what you talk about.
Right. Okay. I'm so happy that I went to Howard. I am. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I talk about it a lot and I'm excited about speaking about it. Um, just what they're doing in the universities and all HBCUs, they've gotten a lot of love lately. And I think we're beginning to realize that we are good. Not that we have to be separate, but when we're together, it's good. When we work
Yeah.
together, really, really good. And
Yes,
there's
it's
pride
amazing.
and joy. Amazing. Yeah.
What was like the deciding factor for you to go to Howard?
It really was that the fact that I had already had the experience of being in an HBCU because my mom and dad at Grambling and then being Grambling grads. But I just wanted something different. I wanted to be around people who looked like me. I wanted, I mean, the history of Howard, I knew it. I was familiar with their School of Communications, which was top notch. And it was in DC, which was a city that, offers you so much in terms of, socially and, intellectually. And it's, the birthplace of, it's government, it's all of that. And I just thought it would just be such a well-rounded experience. And so for me, it was easy. Like it was the only school I applied to. Yeah, could I apply to other schools? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that I wanted to go to Howard. I was clear. And that it was the only undergraduate school that I wanted to go to. So I only applied to Howard. And of course, I got accepted.
Really? Okay.
And I was laid up. That was always it. I knew in my senior year, it was time for applications. I'm like, that's where I want to go. I applied and I was accepted by the end of my first semester of my senior year. So I knew in January of 1987 where I was going to go to school in the fall.
Okay. Child, I had no direction. I applied to Maryland, University of Maryland, Eastern Shores, North Carolina A&T. Yeah, I had applied, but I wanted to go to North Carolina. Somewhere in North Carolina, either North Carolina Central, because one of my good friends at the time was going there, and then North Carolina. Yeah, I was just applying to all the HBCUs. So my mom was just like, no, I'm not signing off on these schools. So then that's when I looked into, all right, well, she was like, I need to drive within the day. Like, I need to drive there and come back within a day. So I looked into Maryland and I was like, oh, there's a lot of schools here. Let me look into this. So I decided to apply to Coppin State first and then Morgan. I got into both. So that was my reasoning of picking those schools. But I initially wanted to go to Eastern Shores or the North Carolina FAMU. Definitely, I've always liked Florida. But my parents was like, no, we need to keep an eye on you. So you need to pick something.
Like you need to be close by.
Yeah, so that was my deciding factor. But I'm glad I picked Maryland because it allowed me to just stretch myself and explore something new. Because Maryland, I don't think I've really wandered around in Maryland and DC area. So it was like new territories. And I was just like, I still like Maryland. So I'm just like, I'm glad that they made me reconsider and picking those schools and picking that location. I'm just like, I really liked living there. The food there is great. Crab cakes is to die for. Okay.
Oh, girl, yes.
I'm going to go there one of these days and give me some crab cake soup, crab cake sandwich, a crab cake burger. Put some mambo sauce. I need to go to somebody's grandmama's house and I want her to make the mambo sauce. I do not want the store brand, the store bought one. And the half and half. Not the store half and half. I want the DC Maryland half and half.
Right.
So they just have they just have culture within there, and I definitely appreciated just the Maryland DC. I ran around a little in the DC area. I definitely had my car towed in DC a lot. So I was not the driver a lot of the time after a certain year.
I'm the designated passenger.
Yes. You want the gas money? Because I got gas money.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad I decided to go there because it definitely is like a forever staple, whether I went to HBCU and just experiencing the Blackness of Baltimore and Baltimore, PG County, and DC.
I love it. You just can't go wrong with the DMV. It's like, it's like people who love Atlanta. I mean, there's something to be said about Black excellence and being around that. It just inspires you and motivates you to keep going. And you're like, I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can not just dream it, but I can achieve it because I've seen someone else do it. So when we talk about representation matters, representation does matter. When you see someone who looks like you, who can achieve and is achieving, it inspires you to keep pushing. It inspires you to keep going. It inspires you that if they can make it happen, you can make it happen. So that's what an HBCU does.
Yes. What do you want to cheers to?
Oh, girl. This is simple. Let's cheers to an HBCU.
Yes, alumni.
HBCU.
Yes.
Cheers.
HBCU is amazing.
Mm-hmm. HU, the real school. The real
I'm
HU.
gonna find somebody from Hampton. I'm gonna put y'all in one episode.
Bring them on so we can go back and forth.
Panel
Wow.
discussion. Now, who is the real HBCU?
I can dig it. I dig it.
Who is the real HBCU? I need you to declare and we war.
Right. I can do that. I'll do it. I'm up for the challenge.
Oh God, y'all don't understand. Y'all will never understand, but it's all right. Just watch from afar. But it's an ongoing joke that you guys will never understand if you are not an HBCU grad.
So true.
Yes. So thank y'all for watching another episode of A Girls Night Out. Yes. All right. I'll see y'all in another episode. Bye, y'all.
Bye.